Hi, I'm Malcolm Burrows, Principal of Dundas Lawyers. Dundas Lawyers is a boutique corporate, technology and intellectual property firm with clients around Australia but based in Brisbane. What we're here to talk about today is software as a service or SaaS contracts. A software as a service contract differs from a software license because the user or the end user doesn't obtain a copy of the software. Instead, they obtain a right to access the software and use it as a service for a defined period. This video discusses just what a SaaS contract is, the law as a background, the law that applies to SaaS contracts, and the main clauses to consider in SaaS contracts. So SaaS contracts govern the right of a user or a group of users to access the software for a period of time and the fee associated for the rights to use it. Key considerations in these contracts include what actually is the service that is being accessed, how will it be charged for? It's not necessarily time-based charge, it can be charged on a unit-based, for example. Who owns the intellectual property in the actual code that is being exploited as part of the SaaS contract? Does the software produce something that must be licensed? Or is the production or the output to be used for a particular purpose? In other words, how is the data created and used? And is there user-generated content involved, which creates potential liability for the publisher? There is no one-size-fits-all for SaaS contracts. Each business service and product differs, with new business models giving rise to new legal issues. And it's one of the great things we see in innovation projects is that these new business models often create new legal issues. So in addition to the common law of contract, providers of SaaS products must consider various statutory obligations, including the Competition and Consumer Act or the Australian Consumer Law, as they apply to consumer guarantees. The main consumer guarantee being that the application is of an acceptable quality, meets the description of the service and is fit for purpose. It's also important to consider which jurisdiction the contract applies to, in other words, with the choice of law clause. It's becoming increasingly important as more and more services are provided to a global market. So whether you choose to be in Australia, if you're an Australian provider of a SaaS contract, you need to understand the implications of providing services to companies in the US, for example. So in addition to the choice of law clause, there are ranges of other clauses that are common to SaaS contracts, including free trial periods and what happens to customer data at the end of the trial period. Any regional limitations that apply to access and use of the software? Or what about any liability or indemnities which aim to protect the provider if a user publishes something or does something with the software which they're not supposed to do? These clauses can also detail how and when downtime occurs for maintenance and in what circumstances the contract can be terminated. So there are a range of legal issues to consider when commercialising a SaaS product, not the least of which is being information security and data privacy. With more and more data breaches being publicised, compliance with the Privacy Act should be at the top of any SaaS provider's mind. So if you're looking for a technology-savvy law firm to advise you and or draft a SaaS contract, please don't hesitate to give me a call for an obligation-free and confidential discussion.